Can financial outlooks change drastically in only 5 years?
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
They can. And hello, this is Yetta Decker.
I'm Ken Decker.
And we're with our favorite people, Roz and Sean Woodland. And we are so excited that we are able to share techniques, thoughts, tips, and tools that we all need. We all deserve. You, I, everyone. So we get to turn our house into home, our families thrive, and we live the best life possible.
Yeah. And in this episode, we're going to talk to Roz and Sean about what it's like to go from negative net worth to close to $1 million in net worth in approximately 5 short years. Wow, isn't this going to be exciting? So talk to us about where you were. What was going on in you were just getting married, I think?
That's right.
Yeah.
We were just getting married. We were in pre-marriage counseling, and we realized that although we were great on a number of things, in finance, we were not on the same page, not in the same book, not in the same library, not in the same country. We were quite far apart.
So you're saying there was a little bit of distance between you.
A bit of distance between us.
So where'd you start, and what were your goals? Because you were financial goals you were far apart on, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had none. I just assumed I was going to work my 9 to 5 for 40 years and have a pension to retire on. That was my financial plan. Maybe a lottery in there could have been.
Oh, so you're playing the lottery?
Not really, but like when it got up to 50, 60, 70 million, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll spend $5.
Nice. And so where did you come from, your background coming into the marriage? What was your financial past?
2 bankruptcies.
Just 2?
Just only 2.
Just
2.
Just okay. 2? How recent had been the last one?
The last one was in 2007. So it would have been like less than 10 years before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have your discharge and everything?
I didn't have I had got my discharge right before we closed on our first house.
Okay, so you didn't have your discharge.
I didn't have my discharge. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Sean, where were you at financially, and what were your thoughts around building wealth?
Well, I wanted wealth. My history has...
By any means possible.
Well, I can neither confirm nor deny. But yes, I was about $40,000 in debt with CRA and student loans and credit cards, and it was a really bad state. I felt like I was not going to ever be able to get out of there, and all dreams of wealth were behind this 8 ball of debt, and it was awful. So,
but you had some goals about what you wanted to do when you're coming into the marriage, and that's why the marriage counselor said, "Ooh, you guys need to do something."
Yeah, I wanted to be a real estate investor and have rental properties, and somebody I know didn't.
That would be me.
That would be Roz.
That would be me.
She's sitting here shaking her head. You can't see that on radio, but she's violently shaking her head. No, not me.
I was just triggered back to that time. So
it's amazing how triggers will show up. So this is a warning for this episode, plus future ones that we're going to be doing with Sean and Roz, that there might be some triggers show up, and it's okay. We're going to sit in the discomfort, and we're going to ask you to manage to do so as well, and know that this story has some really happy endings on the other side.
That's right. Absolutely.
So you went to marriage counseling.
Well, preparation.
Marriage prep. Yeah.
Pre-marriage.
Pre-marriage counseling. Yeah.
Okay, let me say it that way. Yes.
Yeah.
And what did they suggest?
Special financial help for us. Which led us to the financial fitness seminar, which of course you, Ken, were facilitating at the time.
Was I? What kind of shirt was I wearing?
This amazing purple paisley shirt. I actually wanted Sean to ask Ken to borrow it for our wedding, because our wedding theme was purple. And he said, no, I'm not asking a complete stranger to borrow a shirt.
That's a true story.
Yeah.
And you know what, Sean? I would have given you the shirt off my back. I really would have.
I believe you.
I believe you now. Yeah.
Now you believe us.
Now I do.
But at that point, Sean wasn't signing up for that.
Well, I don't know him. How could I ask somebody to borrow his shirt? Awkward.
Okay, so you went to the financial fitness seminar held by More Than Enough, and I was actually presenting with, I think, Lynn Fraser.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what was your next step?
To apply the principles.
Really?
That's right. But to look at where our money was going, right? To save all the receipts and to find out where our money was going. And honestly, I in particular was flabbergasted because I would say, well, we don't go out for dinner very much, but the money that we were spending on muffins and coffee and all of those things added up to a whopping $890 a month.
Wow, $890. You remember that like it was yesterday, don't you?
I do, because it was like,
Because there might have been
there's
some
a Starbucks
emotion.
at Carleton University, right? So it was no big deal to go and get, the latte, go and get the big molasses cookie, and, that's like 12 bucks.
neat.
And, yeah.
So what'd you do with that $890? Did you keep buying Starbucks?
No, I stopped buying Starbucks. I actually stopped buying coffee in general at outside of the house, and started putting that in the emergency cushion, and then paying down the debt, and also at the same time saving for the down payment. So
Okay, but we got to backtrack for a minute, because saving for a down payment, you were never going to buy a house.
oh yes, at that point. Well, I started having a little more wiggle room in that certainty after the financial fitness.
And
seminar.
reading the wealth formula, that really changed her outlook as well.
Yeah, I hadn't read it yet though.
Oh, you had no?
No, no. You read it right away, and you wanted me to read it, and I was like, sure.
So you didn't read it together.
No.
And Sean, were you a big reader?
No, I wasn't a
Before you
big reader, but it was so well written and so easy to read that I was done it in like a day and a half. It was so good. Lots of great information.
Really small words in it, eh? I literally wrote it at a grade 5 level because that's where my writing skills are.
Yeah.
But it worked out really well.
It's such a great, easy read, and that story format is like when I did finally surrender to reading it, I was so impressed with it. I was just like, well, this isn't a book. It's a storybook, right? It's a story. And it was a story that I loved.
And then you could apply the principles. So I
Yes.
think what I heard you say is your first few steps were attend a seminar that give you access to new thinking.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then once you attended that seminar, your next step was to read the wealth formula, which gave you even further access to new thinking. And it's kind of simultaneously, because we were chatting about this at your house the other night for dinner, that this stuff all kind of happened together, although we're separating for steps for ease of implementation. And then you started tracking where your money was going, not initially with the intent of changing anything, and yet somehow inside of awareness means we start shifting how we show up
Absolutely.
and how we spend our money.
So what other books or courses did you take on this path of growth in your financial awareness?
Darren Hardy's book, The Compound Effect, was a big one.
That's a good book.
Applying consistency in everything. 1% a day, you're 365% better by the end of the year if you keep making small, gradual improvements.
Impressive. So, Roz, I know you have a favorite passage, one of your favorite passages. You probably have lots of favorite passages. Proverbs 15:22. What's the paraphrase of that?
Yeah, the paraphrase of that one, we read it initially at the wedding, but it's just stayed constant, which is plans go awry for lack of counsel, but with a multitude of advisors, you succeed.
Oh, that doesn't even sound like a paraphrase. It sounds like you read it right out of the Bible.
Well, it actually might be, it might be a couple of translations in there. There might be a little bit of the Message and NLT and
Okay,
ESV,
well,
but
that's
it is.
So we are grateful to be your partners on the journey of growing wealth and wisdom.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward